Well, another day, another new comic book week is upon us, so it's time to take a look at what's coming out so I can tell you what I'm getting. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. So if you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. On this channel, I do comic book unboxings, reviews, hauls, all that stuff. So if you are interested in comic book content, then hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way you're notified when videos of mine go live. Now, this is the latest in a series that I like to call What I'm Getting, where I take a look at the books coming out in any given week and I tell you which ones I'm getting. I'll give you the cover price, try to make sure we fit them into the budget, and sometimes we have to make tough decisions so that we don't go over budget. But anyway, I like to start with the book that I'm most excited for, but before I do, I got to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of What I'm Getting, Ultimate Comics. Now, Ultimate Comics is my local comic shop. I've been shopping there for almost 3 years now. Love their staff at all 4 locations: Raleigh, Durham, Cary, the Crabtree Valley Mall. They've always got excellent customer service. The stores are clean. They're well stocked with knowledgeable staff that actually likes talking to people. What? That in a comic shop? Really? You could, wow. Funny. You would think you could expect that everywhere. You can't expect that everywhere. But Ultimate's got you covered. And if you don't live in the Raleigh area like me, no worries. You can shop twice a week on their live show at facebook.com/ultimatecomicsLiveShow. And you can visit their website to get the rare and exclusive store exclusives, all sorts of back issues, really good variants at ultimatecomics.com. So don't say I never gave you any cool information, and go ahead and shop at Ultimate Comics so you can be as happy as I am every Wednesday. Now, without further ado, let's get into the book that I'm most excited for this week, and that was actually a tough decision. So, the book I'm most excited for coming up this Wednesday, December 8th, is going to be Tom Taylor's Dark Knights of Steel, issue number 2. So, this one's written by Tom Taylor with art by Yasmin Putri. This was a series that I wasn't really checking for. It was not on my pull list. I grabbed the first issue on a whim. Fun fact, I literally grabbed the last A cover at Ultimate Comics Raleigh. But I grabbed it like, all right, I'll give it a shot. You know, fantasy books aren't my thing. When I see knights' armor and horses and castles and stuff, I usually go the other way, right? Well, I'm so glad I picked this issue up because it was the best thing I read probably all last month. I really, really enjoyed this book. It's a Tom Taylor Elseworlds book. He's kind of built up a reputation for telling really good, self-contained stories in universes where the consequences don't matter to mainline continuity. But man, does that make for really fun books, because his playbox, his sandbox is just like, he's got everything he ever wants to play with. So this one plays with the origin of Superman and the origin of Batman in ways that I did not expect. All the normal DC Universe cast of characters, they're in sort of typical roles, but in ways you've never seen before, because it's got this kind of King Arthur vibe to it. It's just really dope. I really, really loved issue 1. The twist at the end of issue 1 was like, what? So I'm excited to see where issue 2 goes, as you can clearly tell. So Dark Knights of Steel number 2 has a cover price of $3.99, and I'm getting that cover A. Next up, since we're talking about DC Comics and new beginnings and just great things to be excited for, Batman finally has a new writer. Much love to James Tynion. He's not written much that I didn't like, except like the last 10 issues of Batman. I don't know. It just kind of fell off the rails for me once Future State was done. I wasn't impressed by the Fear State event. It sometimes just felt like it was just going on way too long. Like I was reading the same issue over and over again. But now we've got a brand new writer on Batman, and it's Joshua Williamson for at least the next 4 issues. We'll see how things go. But Joshua Williamson is going to be joined by Jorge Molina on artwork, and it's just a new storyline. You know, Bruce Wayne's leaving Gotham City, so we got to see what's going on, what new adventure, what new villain, what new monsters await as he, you know, packs his stuff up, right? So I'm excited about this book and also the return of really dope variants to DC. DC always has really good cardstock variants, but now they're doing ratio variants and all that stuff. This homage to Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1, I mean, come on. Come on. I'm definitely getting that one. I don't know if I'll be going for like the gold foil variant because that one's like a 1 in 250. But I'm definitely getting the variant that you see on the screen here. I gotta have that one. Super excited about it. It's got a cover price of $4.99 or $5.99 if you're wanting one of the variants. And I'm getting the cover B. So next up is Green Lantern issue #9. Green Lantern written by Jeff Thorne. Art on this is being handled by Chris Cross, as well as Tom Rainey. I think that's his name. Tom Rainey, as well as Marco Santucci. Listen, this art is really good. So Green Lantern is really telling two stories right now. One is the story of the central power battery, its destruction, and the kind of mystery behind that being solved by Far Sector Green Lantern, aka Jo Mullein. Well, that's her name. Her name is Jo Mullein, the Green Lantern from the Far Sector book. That story is really awesome. The art during the pages that deal with that story are great. That's my favorite part of the book. But then there's also this kind of hero's quest that John Stewart is on where he's discovering a lot more about himself. You can tell that John Stewart's going to leave this story with an elevated status in the DC universe. And that's exciting because John is my favorite Green Lantern. But I gotta say, I'm not necessarily enjoying all the steps it's taking to get there. But I really love this classic no-frills detective story. I love what's being added to Jo Mullein's mythos. It's just been good. It's been good. It's like getting a dose of street level in my super cosmic book. So I like Green Lantern so far, and I'm excited for issue #9. It's got a cover price of $4.99, and I'm just getting the cover A. Next up, and last on the DC Comics pull list is Superman Son of Kal-El, the 2021 annual. As if DC didn't hit my pockets hard enough last week with all those annuals. They're coming back to clean up this week. But Superman Son of Kal-El obviously has got a lot of controversy around it because of new revelations about John Kent. But at its heart, it's just a really dope Superman story. And in this annual, we get the return of Lex Luthor. So I'm excited to see in what capacity. Is he trying to be like a mentor? Like, oh, I was a better Superman than you, John Kent? What's happening? Is he evil? What are his intentions? That's what I'm excited to see in this annual story, and that's got a cover price of $5.99. I'm getting the cover A. And that is it for the DC Comics this week. If I just stick to the list, it's a good week. It's a better week than normal. My DC Comics will just cost me $20. And next up, we got to talk about Marvel Comics. And first up on the Marvel Comics pull list is The Amazing Spider-Man, issue #80.BEY, the Beyond issue. Man, Amazing Spider-Man is one of those books that's like up and down. Like, I like it. I feel like I don't like it enough to warrant how often I'm buying it, but it's also not lost me yet. And so it's weird, right? I feel like the ultimate mark of a good comic book is, do I want to read the next issue? And every time I read an issue of Spider-Man lately, I do want to read the next issue. But then the next issue comes next week, and I'm like, did I need it right now? Like, what? But anyway, issue 79 was really good. Like, it was good. My bad, I think 80 was the last one. I don't know. 80 and then 80.BEY. Either way, the last issue I read was good. It had the best art, in my opinion, since issue 75 with Pat Gleason. And by the way, Pat Gleason's going to return to issue 81. So I'm like, Spider-Man, they're getting back to I hope they get back to a point where it's just a monthly or, twice a month book. But we got to get through this Beyond storyline first. Hopefully it's worth all these purchases, because if not, I'm going to feel shafted. It's got a cover price of $4.99. I'm getting cover A. Next up is Inferno #3. Now, this honestly could have taken the spot for, the most excited the book I'm most excited for. But Jonathan Hickman's Inferno is a little bit concerning to me because this is issue 3 of 4. And I feel like we're not any closer to any sort of resolutions, resolving plot points than we were in issue 1. So I'm kind of curious to see how this is all going to wrap up in the next 2 issues. Destiny's back. She's about to wreak havoc. We saw in the last issue how Mystique made that happen. And I'm curious to see what the ramifications are going to be. How does this affect the plan for Krakoa? And what does that do to everyone's relationships? This is definitely the most exciting thing happening in the X-Men universe. I'm just not confident it's going to wrap up well in 2 issues. But we'll see. That's got a cover price of $5.99. And I'm just getting the cover A. And that's it for my Marvel Comics pull list. So if I just stick to the list, my Marvel Comics are going to cost me $11 this week. Not bad at all. Now, let's move on to the independent, the creator-owned, the smaller publishers, all that jazz. We've actually got 2 books that were pushed back from previous weeks. So this first book I talked about 2 weeks ago when I thought it was originally coming out. That's Excellence number 12. Short version of it is I'm not caught up on Excellence, and I won't be until my oversized hardcover comes in the mail from Kickstarter. I'm super excited about that. Excellence by Brandon Thomas and Kari Randolph. It's been really good. It's really good. It's so good that I made myself stop so that I could, like, when I get the oversized format, that's my first time experiencing the ending of this kind of first chapter. But I'm excited. This issue number 12 is going to wrap up the second story arc. So if you're trade waiting, then this is the last issue they need to collect for Excellence Volume 2. So be on the lookout for that trade. But yeah, so Excellence number 12's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A. Now, next up from the indie comics, this one is from IDW. Like I said, I thought this was coming out last week. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Best of Shredder. So if you wanted a bunch of Shredder stories from the Mirage days, to the Image days, up until now, check out this book, this one shot. It'll get you all the Shredder that you can handle, right? So definitely check that out. That book completes the whole Best of the TMNT series, which, funny enough, I have like very close to me somewhere. But anyway, that's got a cover price of $5.99. I'm just getting cover A. There's only one cover, no variants to look out for. And lastly, last book on my pull list this week is The Walking Dead Deluxe, issue number 28. You already know, Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead. It's in color. It's got cardstock covers. It's got letters pages. It's got extras. If you never experienced The Walking Dead, this is a great way to do so. I've been enjoying it. I actually read a few issues. I think I'm like 5 issues in now. It's dope. It's super dope. So my long-term project is to get this whole Walking Dead run bound into custom hardcovers, and now I have Walking Dead in color hardcover compendiums. That's my plan. You heard it here. 9th, because that's like the 9th time I mentioned that. But anyway, that's got a cover price of $3.99. I'm getting cover A, and that's the end of my pull list. If I stick to the list, my indies are just going to cost me $14, and my grand total this week, you guys know, last week I went way over budget. I try to stick to $50 or less. This week, $45, and that's before my subscriber discount. Can we get some cheers? Woohoo! What's that thing they do? Oh, yeah. What does this even mean? Why do people do this? Yeah, I guess. But anyway, I'm under budget. Now, there are 2 books that are like noticeably absent from my list, or at least books that looked interesting to me that would be on my list if not for extenuating circumstances. So the first up is Devil's Reign number 1, by everyone's token, right? Everyone who's I've asked says that Daredevil by Chip Zdarsky is like the best book on shelves. It's a book that there were way too many issues that passed before I got into comics, and so I'm not reading it. I'm not keeping up with it in single issues. And so this Chip Zdarsky event that flows directly out of the pages of Daredevil just wouldn't make sense for me to invest in. But that is something that's coming out this week, probably the biggest thing from Marvel. So you should be on the lookout for it if you're a Daredevil fan or if you're a big Marvel fan. Grab that one. I didn't write down the cover price. I'm pretty sure it's going to be $4.99. And then the other book that looked interesting to me, but I'm not going to buy, is from DC Comics. It's called World of Krypton. Now, you guys know I'm not a huge Superman fan, but I know who is a huge Superman fan, and that's Robert Venditti. Robert Venditti's done runs on Hawkman that were super revered. He did Superman Man of Tomorrow in those Walmart 100-page giant specials. Robert Venditti's a good writer, and I love getting good writers on characters that they love. So Robert Venditti doing a book about the world of Krypton sounds interesting, but because I'm not the biggest Superman fan, and because I needed to leave a little wiggle room in the budget, I decided not to grab this first issue. It's a 6-issue miniseries. I'm almost certain it'll be a hardcover next year, so that's when I'll pick it up. But World of Krypton #1 has a cover price, I believe, also of $4.99. So if you're interested in those, grab them, but they're not on my list. What else is on your list that may not be on mine? What are you most excited to read this week? You gotta let me know. Now, if you're looking for a full list of every single book, every graphic novel, every hardcover coming out this Wednesday, you gotta go to my website, comicsaredope.com. We put out the list every Sunday so you can make your shopping decisions. By the way, you know, there's all sorts of great stuff on that website. We got merchandise, we got partnerships with a bunch of other companies so you can save some money. Don't say I never did nothing great for you. I'm trying to tell you. So once again, visit comicsaredope.com to get long-form comic reviews, analysis, and reminders of which books are coming out every week. And I hope you saw something you liked in this video. If not, hey, that's cool. You can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.